Good day, everyone. Today we're going to talk about The Wife's Lament, which is the author is unknown or was never mentioned. So, before we delve into my reflection and analysis about this poem, let us first read the poem for us to understand. I make this song of myself, deeply sorrowing, my own life's journey. I am able to tell all the hardships I've suffered since I grew up, but never or old, never worse than now. Even I suffered the torment of my exile. First, my Lord left his people for the tumbling waves. I worried at dawn where on earth my leader of men might be. When I set out myself in my sorrow, a friendless exile to find his retainers, this man's kinsmen began to think, in secret, that they would separate us, so we so we would live for apart in the world most miserably, and longing seized me. My Lord commanded me to live with him here. I had few loved ones or loyal friends in this country, which causes me grief. Then I found my most fitting man was unfortunate, filled with grief, concealing his mind, plotting murder with a smiling face. So often we swore that only death could divide us, nothing else. All that is changed now. It is now as if it had never been. Our friendship, far and near, I must endure the hatred of my dearest one. They have forced me to live in a forest grove under an oak tree in an earthen cave. This earth hole is old, and I ache with longing. The dales are dark, the hills are too high. Harsh hedges overhung with briars, a home without joy. Here my lord's living often fiercely sees me. There are friends on earth, lovers living who lie in their head, while I walk alone in the light of dawn. Under the oak tree and through this earth cave, where I must sit the summer long day. There I can weep for all my exiles, my many troubles, and so I may never escape from the cares of my sorrowful mind, nor all the longings that have seized my life. May the young man be sad minded with the hard heart thoughts, yet let have a smiling face along with his heartache, a crowd of constant sorrows, let to himself all these worldly joys belong. Let him be outlawed in a far distant land, so that my friend sits under stone cliffs, chilled by storms, weary minded, surrounded by water, in a sad dreary hall. My beloved will suffer. The cares of a sorrowful mind he will remember. Too often a happier home, woe to one who must suffer, longing for a loved one. And from my reflection, the wife's lament or the wife's complaint is an elegy or a poem written for a dead loved one or a dead person. The writer speaks what he or she is feeling as he or she wanders outside his or her shelter under an oak tree in a cave like rock, like a cave people. But as I read the poem, it is very confusing and hard to decode the message. At the first stanza, I've decoded the speaker's emotion, which is I can feel his longingness for something or someone that made the speaker write a song. Now, as I read the second stanza, I've decoded the message that somehow the speaker dedicated the song for his or her Lord, as the speaker mentions that their Lord has left his people, that the poet longed for the feeling of care from his Lord. But as I read the third stanza, it led me to a confusion because the speaker spoke two subjects, which is Lord and man. And after that stanza, the writer focused on the man that he or she wished that even though the man is grieving or in a moment of sorrow, the writer still wishes that their Lord will guide the man to smile and be happy as he faces the struggles of life. It is very hard to decode the message that every scholars and researchers define the elegy as ambiguous or hard to decode, as they find it difficult to understand. It put me to a situation that maybe we'll never know the point of the elegy or the message of it because even the author is unknown. And from my analysis, in the story or in the elegy, we can see the longingness and sorrow of the writer to the subject. In the early stanza, we can see how the writer is hurting because she wrote an elegy. Because sometimes we write just to let out something that we carry within. It even shows that she truly loves the subject, which is the man, that even though the man thinks of immoral thoughts inside his head, the writer prayed for the subject to smile even in the moments of despair.